Good afternoon, everyone, and welcome. My name is Odie McKinley, and I'm the Media and Communications Manager for the Michigan Economic Development Corporation, and this afternoon's host. I would like to first off welcome all of the viewers that have joined us today for what I know will be an informative and enlightening discussion with Mark Burton, the CEO of the Michigan Economic Development Corporation. Good afternoon, Mark, and thank you for taking some time to chat with us today.
Hey, Odie, how are you? Happy to do this. Should be fun.
Yes, it will. So starting off, you've been in a rather unique situation since you were named CEO of the MEDC, in that happened just days before the governor's stay-home order was issued. A lot of people haven't had the opportunity to meet you or chat with you. So let's start off. Can you tell us a little bit about yourself and what you've learned in your short 7 months here at the MEDC?
Sure. So just as background, I was born and raised in the central part of the Upper Peninsula, West Marquette County, very small town. But it was great. I ended up going to college at Northern Michigan University in Marquette, came down for law school at Michigan State. And I've been in and around state government for about 20 years now, lawyer by trade, of course. In terms of what I've learned in 7 months, it's hard. First off, I have learned and truly appreciate that MEDC is filled with extremely talented people who are very passionate for Michigan itself, but also for Michigan's potential. And I think second, a crisis presents a test of who you are, both I think as an individual and in this case, an organization. So in terms of what I've learned and confirmed about MEDC through our COVID response and relief efforts, I think first off, we're extremely nimble. We were able to urgently address some of those challenges on the economic side. We did it thoughtfully and creatively. And at the same time, I think that we continue to prove that we are good and trusted stewards of public resources.
Well, we certainly appreciate you and your tutelage and guidance through these times. But just yesterday, Governor Whitmer signed the state budget for fiscal year 2021, which included $100 million for the MEDC flagship business and community development programs, $15.6 million for efforts to support the state's entrepreneurial ecosystem, and $15 million for the award-winning Pure Michigan campaign. Can you share with our viewers what this budget means to Michigan moving forward?
Sure. Yesterday budget was signed. I think we are excited to be able to have the budget we do for fiscal year 21, especially with kind of the back and forth over the last few months of whether there was going to be significant cuts that may have happened, but were thankfully avoided. So we're happy with the budget we got. We think that by Governor Whitmer working with leaders and our partners in the legislature, that we were really able to have kind of a unified support and validation for the work that we've been doing with the guidance of our strategic plan that was adopted last fall. And the budget demonstrates that we are in a position now to be able to build on what was record-setting momentum, frankly, for 2019. And again, given the crisis, which, as the governor likes to say, we're not out of the woods yet, we have a great opportunity in this next fiscal year to continue to help our businesses, our communities, entrepreneurs and workers continue to recover and thrive, hopefully, as we are able to move from that relief to recovery phase during this fiscal year.
Now, that brings up a great question. Moving into that recovery phase, as we continue our efforts of not just economic relief, but recovery and future growth, how will the MEDC prioritize the funding in this year's budget And what does the path forward in 2021 look like?
So in terms of resource priorities, Odie, we have a great strategic plan. I just mentioned it was adopted last fall, and it was also it was unique, I think, in terms of other peer agencies across the country in terms of a strategic plan that wanted to specifically focus on inequities and resiliency in the state's economy, which frankly has even proven more true than ever based on the COVID crisis. So as we look forward, it's going to be along the lines of that strategic plan in terms of prioritizing programs and services and partnerships that's going to help us become a more equitable and more resilient economy going forward. And we've actually, utilized that quite a bit in the response and relief efforts that we did specific to COVID. So for the fiscal year that just ended yesterday, we were able to deploy, I think about 60% of MEDC support went to diverse owned businesses, and 41 or 42% went to geographically disadvantaged areas. Again, both were key planks of the strategic plan. So we're already implementing that through some of our work, and we'll just continue to do more of that as we obviously start this new fiscal year today.
Well, and let's move a little away from the business side and the budget side. Equity is something that we've been discussing a lot as an organization, both internally and externally, particularly in light of the spotlight that COVID-19 has put on racial inequalities in the state. Can you share your thoughts on that? How does this fit into the MEDC's strategic plan, and what does that look like moving forward?
Sure. As you mentioned, I think the COVID crisis really put a finer look at some of these issues when it comes to again an economy that's more equitable, where opportunity is accessible to all Michiganders. And I think that very simply, as a leader of this organization, and I think other leaders of organizations all agree, there is no perfect in this space, but there is always room for improvement. So I think first and foremost, we have a duty to continually strive to do better, not just now, but from a more permanent prioritization moving forward. And as you mentioned, internal and external, we don't want to just address one. We have a leadership role to play. We believe we can demonstrate leadership in this space. We did appoint, in the late spring, a new DE&I officer who has been charged and working hard, both on the internal and external front. Internal in terms of how our organization itself can do better. External in terms of the programs, resources, services that we deploy on an ongoing basis. So I would continue to expect some announcements here in the short term regarding especially the external side of this with our programs and services as we continue looking at new guidelines for some of our flagship programs. But it all kind of comes back to our mission, Odie, which is obviously to achieve increased economic opportunity for all Michiganders, and growing a more equitable economy is frankly the only way to accomplish that.
Absolutely, and certainly we look forward to hearing what those pending announcements might be. Now, moving back into the budget a bit, you mentioned that the Pure Michigan campaign was funded with $15 million for this year's this fiscal year. That's great news, having come off a year without any funding. What will this funding mean for the tourism industry in Michigan and how we market the state overall?
Yeah, so the restoration of some funding for Pure Michigan was one of our top priorities as we as we set out having conversations, obviously, about this budget that was signed yesterday. And it's critically important for two reasons. One is the tourism and hospitality industry overall was extremely hard hit through the COVID crisis, and which is obviously still continuing. So that's an important sector for our economy, and this will help begin to help them recover from that in a little more pointed way, given obviously the impact that the campaign has had on those opportunities for people to travel and to select places here to do that. So secondly, and almost more importantly from a breadth and scope impact, is that over the last 14 years, Pure Michigan has evolved to be much more than just about tourism. It has helped to both grow a positive national and global reputation, to strengthen our ability, whether it comes from business attraction or business retention efforts, and to be able to continue to build communities that we can attract talent to live and work right here, and then obviously attract those businesses that are looking to relocate and understand what Pure Michigan means and is, and that's just a significant asset for us that we have back.
That's very true, and it means so much to people in Michigan to be able to rally around that Pure Michigan campaign. And we've talked a lot about Pure Michigan business attraction, business retention, community development, diversity and inclusion. And maybe we should have started off the conversation with this, but there may be people that are watching that aren't familiar with what the MEDC is, what the MEDC does. Talk through what we as an organization, our goals are. What is it that we do?
So I think in essence, Odie, the Michigan Economic Development Corporation is the lead agency responsible for broadly marketing the state, marketing Michigan. But we also have another pillar focused on growing businesses of all sizes, small, medium, and large, and also to build more resilient and vibrant communities all across our state. So we pride ourselves in those missions, those three missions, and just to go back to the budget, I think having the leadership of Governor Whitmer as well as the legislative partners that we have really enabled us to get a budget to kind of move the ball down the field on all three of those elements over this next fiscal year. So again, thankful for the budget, but yeah, we do those things. We do them well, I think, and that was demonstrated through the COVID crisis again. And people should rest assured that we have people here who staff people here who really care about the state, about the mission, and that who they wake up every day trying to be better than the next in terms of achieving all of those things.
Good. Well, Mark, I wanted to thank you for your time today and sharing your insight into some of the very important issues that we as an organization and a state are facing. I also wanted to thank all the viewers for spending time with us today. We truly appreciate it. And for more information on the MEDC, I would recommend going to www.michiganbusiness.org, where the suite of tools and information is available about the MEDC. So we appreciate it. Thank you, folks. Thank you, Mark.
Very much.